Hey guys, I'm Pixel Dan, and this is a review of the Mattel Batman Unlimited Dark Knight Returns Batman. That's right, based on his appearance in the infamous graphic novel The Dark Knight Returns, Mattel now has their very own version of this Batman design. As you can see, the figure comes in the standard Batman Unlimited blister card packaging. It fully showcases the figure within, and on the left-hand side of the blister bubble there, you can see instead of the usual artwork of the actual character, we've got an image straight from the Dark Knight Returns graphic novel. It's that iconic shot of Batman jumping in front of the lightning bolt. Now, the back of that packaging does feature some artwork of both Batman and Robin from the Dark Knight Returns graphic novel, and gives you some information straight out of that story. And then on the lower right-hand side, you can see images of the other two figures available in this particular wave of Batman Unlimited, which both happen to be more Batman variants. Now, the Dark Knight Returns Batman has quite a unique design, and in order to pull that off, this particular Batman action figure is much larger and bulkier than any of the other DC Universe classic-style Batman figures we've seen before. Just taking a look at this figure standing side by side with the recent New 52 version of Batman really shows you the size difference. While the height of the figures are about the same, where he really stands out is in his beefiness. This guy is way more muscular than the standard leaner-looking DC Universe Classics figures. Now, what's really kind of cool about this is that in order to achieve this look for this particular design, Mattel opted to use some parts from their Masters of the Universe Classics line. Specifically, the arms and the legs come straight from the standard buck in that He-Man toy line. If you take a look at Batman here standing alongside He-Man, you can see the likeness and sculpts between the arms and the legs. So that is a pretty cool way to really add some of that beef to this particular Batman design. Now, as far as I can tell, everything else on this figure is brand new. The torso is not from a Masters of the Universe Classics figure. It's a brand new torso that is a little wider, and it doesn't have as much pronounced muscles going on because it does have Batman's costume on it here. So I do think that was a good idea to give us a brand new sculpt there. Now, the bat insignia on his chest is just painted on, so there's no sculpted detail there. And for the most part, the figure is just mostly this standard black and a straight gray. There's not a lot of shading or anything like that going on. The utility belt there across the waist is kind of a darker yellow. But overall, it's a great, nice, clean paint job. Does a great job of capturing the likeness of this particular character. Of course, one of the great things is in the head sculpt. You can see he's got that really great squared off jaw, he's got the larger mouth, the shorter ears on the cowl, and it's just a really great likeness of the way Batman was portrayed in this comic. Alright, so let's go ahead and check out the articulation on this particular Batman figure. If you're familiar with any of the DC Universe Classics figures of the past, or you are familiar with Masters of the Universe Classics, you pretty much know what to expect here. The head is able to turn both left and right, and does have the ability to slightly rock up and down. The shoulders are ball jointed, so you can move the shoulders upwards, outwards, forwards. You can twist at the bicep. He's got a single joint at the elbow, and he's got a swivel at the wrist. The torso is able to rock both up and down, and he's got a twist at the waist there. The belt and the underwear part of his costume are a bit of a softer plastic, so it does allow the legs to twist out at the thighs there, so you can move the legs outwards, forwards, and backwards, and it's got a good range of motion there. You got a single joint at the knee, which will allow the knees to bend forwards, backwards. You have the swivels at the boot cut there. And then you have the standard single joints at the ankles. Now, the cape on his back is made of a softer plastic, of course, but you can see it is very straight, and it doesn't really have a lot of folds in it, so it's really kind of billowed out, but you can kind of flex it around. And one thing I will notice is that the joints on mine are a little loose. You can see that the torso joint is a tad loose, unfortunately, and his ankles are both kind of loose. I did have some issues with him kind of toppling over because of that. So, otherwise, the joints are nice and tight, but I do wish the torso and the ankles were a little tighter than they are. That could just be my personal figure, though. So as far as accessories go, Batman here actually does include one Batarang, which is styled the way the Batarangs appeared in the Dark Knight Returns comic, which is very nice. Both of his hands are molded in an open position, so you can piece that little Batarang in either one of his hands. It is made of a softer rubbery plastic, so it has no problem fitting in his hands and holding there without falling out. Alright guys, it's comparison time! Here's Mattel's version of the Dark Knight Returns Batman standing alongside the DC Direct version of the Dark Knight Returns Batman. You can see there is a difference in the paint job. Of course, the one I have here is the most recent repainted version. But you can see the overall designs are pretty similar, but there are definitely some differences between the two. So there you go, guys. There's a look at Mattel's version of the Dark Knight Returns Batman. I am really happy with this figure overall. I think my only minor gripes are that the joints at the torso and the ankles are a little more loose than I'd like them to be. Otherwise, I love the sculpt, the paint job's great, and I do think that this guy is going to have some mass appeal across the board. Not only are Batman fans and fans of the Dark Knight Returns graphic novel going to want to grab this guy up, but I can absolutely see Masters of the Universe fans also wanting to get this guy because of the shared parts and because he will fit in so well with your He-Man figures. I mean, check this out. You can have Batman squaring off against He-Man, or perhaps going on an adventure with him to stop Skeletor. It's pretty cool that you've got the ability to kind of mix and match these two lines like that. But again, fans of The Dark Knight Returns are also sure to love this figure. I can imagine he's probably going to be pretty hard to come by because of his wide appeal. Nonetheless, this Batman Unlimited figure is starting to hit store shelves right now. So, happy hunting, and until next time.